Hello, this is Sherman Blackwell, Executive Director at Singing River Services. Thank you so much for joining me today. And before we get to our special guest, let me remind you of the number you see on the screen. That's why we do this program, to let you know of the some 35 plus different programs we have at Singing River Services, and that number serves as a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week crisis line so that you don't have to be alone. There's always somebody readily available for you to speak with about any questions that you may have. My guest today is Susie Harville. She is the founder and CEO of Advocates for Freedom. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
We're delighted to have you today. Let me tell you a little bit about Susie. She is considered an expert trainer on human trafficking for law enforcement in the state of Mississippi, the Police Academy, FBI, and other federal and state agencies. She holds many certifications on child abuse, domestic abuse, child endangerment, child exploitation, Department of Homeland Security, and ICE Department of Human Services trauma of human trafficking, surveillance and rescue training, pornography, the addiction, chaired a command center in Mississippi during the Super Bowl in New Orleans, and attended and speaks at national conferences across the United States. That's a mouthful. That's a lot of information. This is the first time that we've had this type of program. We've alluded to it on other programs when we talk about human trafficking. A lot of times when we talk about that, or when we think about that, we think of that as somewhere else. Well, that's happening in California or in Taiwan or some other place. And so again, Ms. Harville's degree is in human resources, private and public sector. She's a sought-after speaker about human trafficking and helping to stop the injustice. And so she's here today to help educate us and to empower us to do what we need to do. Tell our audience briefly a little bit about yourself and how you came to be involved in doing this.
A lot of times when I walk in a place and they see I have gray hair and I'm older, that's not who they expected to come in and speak about human trafficking. I got in this because I retired for the third time, not the kind of stay-at-home person, and I just plain asked God what He wanted me to do with the rest of my life. And I didn't know right away, and then one day, as if I had closed my eyes and you could say something to me and I wasn't looking at you, I heard human trafficking. Well, I don't know about you all, but I knew zero about human trafficking at that time. And so I decided, well, I probably misunderstood. Anyway, a little later, the same thing came back. So very proudly, I announced to my family and so forth that I was going to be working against human trafficking. I did not have the faintest idea where to begin, what to do, and what I was about to encounter. Somehow or another, I had seen the movie Taken, and I thought that it was just all about that, and I thought that's where I was going to go. I lined up people, and everybody was going to be international. The thing that really shocked me, Dr. Blackwell, was that it was our kids. 90% of all the people we have helped has, well, in fact, it is 97.5% of all the people we have helped has been American-born, raised kids. And so it is not all of our internationals. Now, we do have labor trafficking, and we have helped several internationals. In fact, my very first victim was international from Peru. But we have helped 291 victims, all adults, except there are 2 children I could add to that number. They got to stay with their grandparents. All the other children that we have found out about, we do not add them in our numbers because they go into Child Protective Services where they should be, and they are helped from there. And we lose track of them. So if I can't give updates and I don't know they're okay, then I don't include them. But this is a different beast.
Human trafficking, this, I think it has so many different connotations. I know there's a definitive definition of what it means, but you know, we see a lot that's happening now on our southern border, and we hear about coyotes and gangs and people, human trafficking coming in that way. What is human trafficking, and how does it happen in our community here in Jackson County?
Okay, well, there is a difference between smuggling and human trafficking. A smuggler is paid to bring you in, and a trafficker is on the other side once you get in, and then they turn around and pay the smuggler for you, and then you go to work to pay the trafficker back. And it was not your intent to do any more than get to America, but when you're here, you don't have a place to lay your head, you have nothing to do, and when somebody says, I got a job for you, you think it's a real job, and it's not. And so that's where the human trafficking really comes in, or someone brings you in deliberately for you to earn money through human trafficking for them, not for yourself. Now, what is human trafficking? Human trafficking is when one person forces another person to do something that they do not want to do, cannot stop doing, and do not get any benefit from, and they are truly exploited. It is done by 3 different means: force, fraud, and coercion. Force is the pain. Now, sometimes it's some people are easier to control with pain. They might be slapped around or thrown up against a wall or something like that, and it's fine. We have had one victim that was actually had vodka poured on them. They were set on fire, and then they were thrown into a tub of ice water, and to stop it from severely burning them. But they traumatized that person violently during that occasion. The fraud, that's the lie. Oh, you can be a movie star or you can be a model. My dad has a photo shoot. He would love to meet you. This is what's going to happen. Well, we've had the teenager that was involved in that too. Dad backed out at the last minute, sending her on an airplane out of Gulfport to do a photo shoot. Anyway, when they backed out, the website, the phone numbers, everything just went away. So there's that lie. Then there's the coercion. Coercion is blackmail. If you don't do this, something bad is going to happen. We have an example of that. We had an 11-year-old girl taken, and she had been missing. She did not want to do what she was being made to do, and challenged the person that was making her do it. And she turned around and told him that she wasn't not going to do it. If he wanted to kill her, go ahead. He thought about it and then told her, I got you. I'll go get your younger sister. She will be seasoned, and then I will make her do twice what I've asked you to do, and you'll watch. At that time, an 11-year-old made a lifetime decision not to give him any problems. And that she did until she was, I think, about 2 months later, and then a policeman found her, and that's how we found out this story.
Wow. What are, on the heels of that, we're under 3 minutes for the break, but what are some of the signs, if we today, possibly to some limiting degree, educate our viewers about that you would recognize that a person's being trafficked?
They act agitated. They don't like eye contact. They don't like to verbalize with you. They are confrontational. If they never curse, they might start using a lot of cursing in their vocabulary. They might clench their teeth. They end up with headaches and in a lot of pain. They'll suddenly complain of stomach aches continually. But if you just see someone down the road, it could be signs that they have cuttings on them, very bad bruises. It could be that they look wiped out and very tired. So there are many signs of human trafficking. I think sometimes we may not know if we're seeing it, but I want to stress to the people, if you suspect, Mississippi law has now changed and you are to report. If you're not sure you want to report to the authorities, then please call Advocates for Freedom and you can report to us. And if you do want to call them, there is a national hotline I'll give you.
Is there a particular environment or part of the country when we're talking about indigenous to, what makes that unique to Jackson or Harrison County or the coast, Mississippi?
Well, the one thing is the Department of Justice has deemed the I-110 corridor all the way from Florida to California as the main corridor. We have resorts. Resorts bring people of all sorts to come down here and play, and they come down here with extra money to spend. Then we have the good, beautiful weather all year round. Then we have military bases. Then we have festivals. Anytime you have a gathering of people, you have your pimps. Yeah. And so human trafficking goes on. People are moved all the time. They don't usually stay in our area for a long time, but that's what brings them here, is the beauty of Mississippi.
My guest today is Susie Harvell. She is the founder and CEO of Advocates for Freedom, a very unique program, and a program that we plan on having Susie back on the program intermittently as we go forward, because it's no way we could exhaust this topic today at all. So we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back and talk more about things that are happening concerning human trafficking in our area.
Are you getting letters from the IRS? Have you not filed taxes in years? Do you feel like you have no options? Because we can help you find the best option based on your specific needs. The IRS has the power to freeze your bank account, to garnish your paycheck, and to seize your assets. We can help you with offer and compromises, not collectible status, innocent spousal relief, lien removal, garnishment relief, installment agreements, and much, much more. I am Ryan Longmire, and I'm here for all your tax service needs. Do not settle for just any tax service company. Choose Taxes in Time and let me get to work for you. Call now for your free consultation. Weekend appointments are available. Taxes in Time, a local tax company you can trust with all of your IRS and state taxing issues.
Yeah, it's another one. 5.
Hey girls, what are y'all counting?
We're counting all the foster trucks we see.
Oh, that sounds fun.
It really is. There's so many of them.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
When it comes to providing the best in heating and cooling, you can always count on Foster's Heating and Air, home of the old reliables. How many have you counted today?
11.
Are you trying to decide on lunch or dinner? Well, Scranton's Restaurant and Catering has now made it even more convenient than ever with their new QR scan that takes you straight to their menu. Simply use your phone to scan and order. It's just that easy. Or stop by and choose from a variety of ready-to-go fresh menu items from their Marketplace Deli. Scranton's Restaurant and Catering, located on Delmas Avenue in Pascagoula. Stop by, call, or scan today.
Hello, this is Sherman Blackwell, Executive Director at Singing River Services. Thank you for joining us for the second half of today's program. As we get into today's program, let me remind you of the number you see on the screen. Possibly in this next 11, 12 minutes, there'll be some questions that you may have that you would like forwarded to Ms. Harvell to follow-up information. We'll be glad to get you connected. She's going to give you some of her numbers as well, so be ready with a pen or a piece of paper along those lines. Like I mentioned, she is the founder and CEO of Advocates for Freedom. I guess, has this just always been?
Always.
Yeah.
It's like many things. We're just talking about it and learning about it, but always.
Always. Yeah. What do we do if we think we see or recognize a victim? You alluded to that a little bit.
Right. Okay. Because our law says we are mandated as the general public to report or if you suspect something. So the national hotline is the very best way to go. If you will call 888-3737, 888, that number will take you there. You can be totally anonymous. They're not going to tell you whether this is trafficking or not trafficking because it has to be checked out prior. But if you can say the details that you have, and many of us are good observers, but we need to hone those skills a little better. If you see something and you're standing near the car that they're getting into, see if you can get the license plate discreetly. And I'm really emphasizing discreetly because you don't want to get hurt. If you see something out at a truck stop that you've stopped to get some gas, don't approach, don't go rescue or do anything like that, but call the local police. That's a good one to call right then. But then also report it to the national hotline. Our numbers are helped in the state. More money and emphasis is given to fighting this. Most people that I talk to do not realize this is the #2 crime in America today. And I believe it's close to getting to be the #1 crime. Now let me explain why I say that. When we started globally, this was a $32 billion a year business. Now it's a $150 billion a year business. It has just exploded. During the 2020, our pandemic, we were busier than ever. We have never had a year like last year. Everybody on devices, people who didn't have anything to do with their time, and were getting some extra income being at home, they would get on, watch some porn. The next thing you know, they were purchasing a victim online, and then from doing that, they would meet up, hand off the money, or if they didn't use their credit card, they'd hand off the money. And we were busier than ever. We had more victims.
There's criminality on both sides of this. You talked about the coyote or the person that gets the person there, and then the person that is on the receiving end. There's a market out here. Does this infiltrate what is legal businesses? Is it always illegal?
It's always illegal. If it's a minor.
No, I know
Yes.
the human trafficking aspect of it is always illegal. I got that. I understand that. But I'm talking about who's the buyer?
Who's the buyer? The buyer is someone you'd least expect. It's your neighbor, maybe a family member.
That's what
it is. A businessman. It could be somebody we sit with in church. It can be anybody. Many of them have become addicted to pornography. Pornography is truly driving this train.
Okay.
Pornography is a mental illness, and that's one of the reasons I'm so happy to be here today, because it becomes a true addiction. And 8 months to 24 months, you become addicted if you watch pornography on a daily basis of any type. And once you've become addicted to pornography, it's a lot like being addicted to food. It's one of those hard things to break. But if you give it up and you don't do it for 2 years, the good news is you can step away from that. But pornography, once it gets a hold of you, makes you do things you never thought you would do. And it breaks up homes. It makes wives feel less
It infringes
loved.
dignity.
Yes,
Right.
it does. And then it goes into things that you never thought you would do, like a grown man being attracted to a child and so forth. So we are really, we've had very strong conferences against pornography. That is the new drug of today.
Well, it's pretty alarming, very alarming, and it is prevalent. It's not announced. To hear you say it's the second most criminal thing, maybe the first at this particular point of view. On the little bit of time we have left, you are available, I'm assuming, to speak at civic clubs, churches, to talk about this and to give more information about this. But if someone is watching today and they want to be more involved, more informed on helping on a local basis, what do they do?
Well, we have a lot of fun programs that has nothing to do with actually coming in contact with anyone who is in this wrongly. But what we have is we have 2 different thrift stores, but it's an upscale thrift store. We have one in Ocean Springs and we have one in D'Iberville. The one in Ocean Springs is with that new St. Vincent de Paul thrift store in Ocean Springs at 2200 Benville Avenue. And then the other one is located on Automall Parkway within Antiques and More. And both of these stores, 100% of what we sell goes to our victims. And what is so good about that is our victims have many needs. And some of these needs cannot be fulfilled by a blouse or a dress or a pair of shoes. Those needs have to get services and have to have some treatment, maybe for a year and maybe 2 years and sometimes longer. A lot of trauma, and Dr. Blackwell would be the expert on that, but a lot of trauma comes from being forced and traumatized into doing what you don't want to do. But we have many other things. We have a volunteer program, and if you would call me at my number, it's 228-229-2754, then we can let you know when our next training is. We will do a background check. You have to be cleared, and you'll be doing it for an excellent cause. So please come and join us. There's lots of fun at AFF as well as work.
So you don't have all the money in the world that you need.
No, we're a nonprofit.
You're a nonprofit. So if someone wants to make a donation, maybe anonymously or do something, they can do that by?
You go on our website, advocatesforfreedom.org, and make the donation there if you want to, or you can send it to our P.O. Box. And that P.O. Box, excuse me, is 2497 Gulfport 39505.
We are under 3 minutes now, and like I said, we're going to have you back, talk about other things. What do we need to say at the close of this program that we haven't said yet? Are there some data or what?
Well, with this month being about child abuse, I would like to say that 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 4 boys are abused every day. And once a child is abused, you can't give back that innocence, whether it's sex or whether it's a verbal abuse or physical abuse. You cannot give back their innocence. And once you change a child, then they might be the next person who hurts another child. It's usually hurting people hurt people. And so I really encourage you to step out, notify somebody, talk to somebody, call us if you're not sure. If it's not in our lane, we'll help you get to where you need to be. But if you've been hurt and you need someone to talk to, call us. We will do our very best. But Jackson County has been one of the best counties to help us. Between the United Way and others, we are not stopping until we help end human trafficking. I might not can do it all over the United States, but I will do it in my own backyard. And I feel strongly that, there's a lot of work for us to do, and together we can do it. We do have to have a conversation about trafficking.
If you don't talk about it, nothing gets done.
That's right. You can't heal, or you can't stop it, or you can't fix the problem, and it's a problem to be fixed.
Yeah. We would, in a perfect world, we would hope everyone could get help, but because that's not going to happen doesn't mean that you don't help some.
That's right.
That you help as many as you can.
If we all help a little, we make a big difference.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here
Thank
today. It's a grave topic, something that needs more discussion, more amplification, particularly in the times that we live in. My guest is Susie Horvell. She is the founder and CEO of Advocates for Freedom, and if you would like more information relative to that, or would like for Susie to come speak at your church or your civic organization, or just have a telephone conversation, you can call the number that you see on the screen, and we'll get you over to her and her information. And then we're going to have her back intermittently as we go along, because with all that is happening in our world, we have to stop just retreating, and you do better so many times by helping out and helping others, and particularly those that are most vulnerable in our population. That doesn't only apply to mentally ill or individuals with developmental disabilities, but as she's mentioned, here's these that are young and that are held to human trafficking standards. And so we want to work with as many groups as we can to help bring some help to some. Thanks for being here.
That's right. Thank you so much for having us. Thank you each.
This is Sherman Blackwell. Thanks for tuning in today. We're going to look forward to seeing you again next week.
Are you getting letters from the IRS? Have you not filed taxes in years? Do you feel like you have no options? Because we can help you find the best option based on your specific needs. The IRS has the power to freeze your bank account, to garnish your paycheck, and to seize your assets. We can help you with offer and compromises, not collectible status, innocent spousal relief, lien removal, garnishment relief, installment agreements, and much, much more. I am Ryan Longmire, and I'm here for all your tax service needs. Do not settle for just any tax service company. Choose Taxes in Time and let me get to work for you. Call now for your free consultation. Weekend appointments are available. Taxes in Time, a local tax company you can trust with all of your